マーベルアベンジャーズアッセンブルキャプテンアメリカハルクソーバースプそしてアイアンマン Is that a joke?
If we don't get any anime suits of any kind, then we're gonna have a serious problem. Anyways, welcome back, true believers and all you merry Marvelites, to another very exciting Marvel's Avengers related video. So if you've been keeping up with the recent updates for Marvel's Avengers as to when we could possibly receive even more footage of the game next, you would have had your eyes peeled to the recent Tokyo Game Show. And as it was precisely discussed upon within the Tokyo Game Show website, which also thoroughly analyzed every single game that Square Enix was going to present during the conference, they did have a specific segment dedicated to Marvel's Avengers. And even though we were expecting a possible brand new trailer of the game to be shown off for the Japanese audience during the Tokyo Game Show, we instead just got the A-Day gameplay with a few slight updates. Now obviously this is the Golden Gate Bridge prologue mission of the game that we have already seen time and time again, but this time around we do have some very interesting additions to the overall HUD visuals that the game will feature. And alongside of that, we also have a very interesting control layout for each individual Avenger that you will be able to play as within the game, as well as a slight glimpse to the RPG elements that the game will feature once it does fully release. For example, I really appreciate how detailed Iron Man's HUD is compared to the other Avengers, considered how he's the most high-tech out of the entire crew. Not to mention the amount of differentiation that we see between each individual hero's combat styles relating to how they fight either on the ground or in the air. And speaking of combat, while the main combat designer of this game, Vince Napoli, did break down as to how the specifics of it are going to work, it's really nice to actually get the official controls as to which buttons do what while you are playing as every single hero. So mainly in the case of the PS4, we do see that square and triangle are your basic light and heavy attacks, while you can use L2 and R2 to aim and fire your given projectile. And to mainly be put in the shoes of each of these heroes, this obviously relates to Thor throwing Mjolnir, as well as Iron Man shooting his repulsors, Captain America throwing his shield, Black Widow shooting her guns, and Hulk actually throwing either enemies or giant rocks. Not to mention that between the heroes' standard powers, we also have the heroic abilities, which will give every hero a huge advantage when surrounded by a bunch of enemies. So seeing that this gameplay ends up confirming which specific category each ability fits in with that of the support, assault, or ultimate ability, it's just an overall great feeling to see how fleshed out this combat system appears to be. And knowing that upgrading the Avengers is going to be one of the biggest aspects of the game, I can't wait to see how each hero is going to be fighting every enemy in sight once they are completely upgraded. Now moving on from the combat actually relates to a few RPG elements that the Avengers project is going to feature in full force. To break it down on a simple and easily understandable level, this is basically going to be a fully AAA MMORPG. And as we've known and seen already, we can fully upgrade and customize our characters to our heart's content while also fighting a plethora of enemies within certain waves and levels based on their certain rank. And what this means is that you will continue to level up your hero as you progress through the story, but the enemies will also be growing in their own respective levels as the story continues, making it even harder to fight them. As we see in this updated A-Day footage, each individual enemy does have a health bar along with a specific level to go with their character. And given that these are Taskmaster's goons within the prologue of the game, they are only a lower level of that of 4. And not only that, but they also have a specific enemy title to go along with their category. This will help you identify which specific enemy that you are fighting compared to the other plethora of foes that we will eventually go up against once we do go further into the narrative. And surely, given the recent footage that we have seen, I can guarantee that the AIM soldiers will probably be a higher level compared to what the Taskmaster goons are now. Plus, like the developers have said previously, every time you deal damage on an enemy, you will actually see damage numbers appear above their body. And if you manage to look a tad closer at said numbers, you'll be able to identify two separate colors of white and yellow. And once again, relating to the massive RPG elements this game will feature, the white numbers most likely relate to a standard damage amount, while the yellow is definitely a critical hit. But to expand upon it a bit more, if you manage to deal a significant amount of damage to an enemy without defeating him, you will be able to do a finishing move by pressing triangle and circle simultaneously. And once these finishers are executed, like we've also seen in the recent gameplay snippets of the other characters, you will end up receiving a health boost in a form of a green aura. However, in the newest footage, it does look like the green aura has been replaced with a green orb. Luckily, the developers have confirmed that you will be able to turn off the damage numbers as well as the green orb/aura effect on the characters if you are so inclined to. For me personally, I completely understand why they would try to input these types of gameplay mechanics within Marvel's Avengers to fit that more RPG type of genre, but I don't think it really fits the fully AAA setting that this game is trying to fill. Still, if you are playing this game online with some of your friends and it's hard to keep track of which enemies are in sight that you are dealing damage to, I definitely could see why the damage numbers would come in handy. But in the end, this is basically all the quote-unquote new footage that we did receive of Marvel's Avengers during the Tokyo Game Show, and sadly we didn't get any actual update as to what the PS4 content is going to be for this game. Luckily, we won't have to wait too long because we are promised to receive some brand new pieces of information about the game directly at New York Comic Con, which is scheduled during early October. We also have the current amounts of Iron Man footage that we are receiving from the Marvel's Avengers Twitter page, with surely even more hero information to be revealed in the coming weeks. And with all that said, everyone, that's the video I have for you today, and please let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think about the fully updated A-Day footage that we did receive from the Tokyo Game Show, and what part of the game are you excited about the most? It's gonna take a little while for me to get used to the RPG aesthetic that the game is going for, especially considering how Spider-Man PS4 was handled, but I'm definitely open to see how it all plays out. And until even more footage of this game is revealed, everyone, thank you all so much for watching, stay merry Marvelites, and peace out.